Continuing on with my read aloud series from Indian Economic Development textbook for class 11, doing chapter 9, Environment and Sustainable Development. And that we finished with environment, definition and functions. We state of India's environment, and today we're going to do sustainable development. So the last chapter, chapter 9 in unit 3, that is environment and sustainable development. So today we are going to do sustainable development. Sustainable development. Environment and economy are interdependent and need each other. Hence, development that ignores its repercussions on the environment will destroy the environment that sustains life forms. What is sustainable development? Development that will allow all future generations to have a potential average quality of life that is at least as high as that which is being enjoyed by the current generation. The concept of sustainable development was emphasized by the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, that is UNCED, which defined it as development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. Read the definition again. You will notice that the term need and the phrase future generations in the definition are the catchphrases. The use of the concept needs in the definition is linked to distribution of resources. The seminal report, Our Common Future, that gave the above definition explained sustainable development as meeting the basic needs of all and extending to all the opportunity to satisfy their aspirations for a better life. So once again, explained sustainable development as meeting the basic needs of all and extending to all the opportunity to satisfy their aspirations for a better life. Meeting the needs of all requires redistributing resources and is hence a moral issue. Edward Barbier defined sustainable development as one which is directly concerned with increasing the material standard of living of the poor at the grassroots level. This can be quantitatively measured in terms of increased income, real income, educational services, healthcare, sanitation, water supply, etc. In more specific terms, sustainable development aims at decreasing the absolute poverty of the poor by providing lasting and secure livelihoods that minimize resource depletion, environmental degradation, cultural disruption, and social instability. Sustainable development is, in this sense, a development that meets the basic needs of all, particularly the poor majority, for employment, food, energy, water, housing, and ensures growth of agriculture, manufacturing, power, and services to meet these needs. The Brundtland Commission emphasizes on protecting the future generation. So what is this Brundtland? She was the former Prime Minister of Norway. So she was in 1983 when it was founded. She was made the chairman of the commission, and she was chosen due to her strong background in the sciences and public health. So this commission emphasizes on protecting the future generation. This is in line with the argument of the environmentalists who emphasize that we have a moral obligation to hand over the planet Earth in good order to the future generation. That is, the present generation should bequeath a better environment to the future generation. At least we should leave to the next generation a stock of quality of life, assets no less than what we have inherited. The present generation can promote development that enhances the natural and built environment in ways that are compatible with 1. Conservation of natural assets, 2. Preservation of the regenerative capacity of the world's natural ecological system, 3. Avoiding the imposition of added costs or risks on future generations. So once again, that is conservation of natural assets. 2nd is preservation of the regenerative capacity. And third, avoiding the imposition of added costs or risks on future generations. So, according to Herman Daly, a leading environmental economist, to achieve sustainable development, the following needs to be done. First, limiting the human population to a level within the carrying capacity of the environment. The carrying capacity of environment is like a plimsoll line of the ship, which is its load limit mark. So plimsoll line is a line that they make outside the ship that shows that the load that line should not be submerged. So that's known as a plimsoll line. So in the absence of the plimsoll line for the economy, human scale grows beyond the carrying capacity of the earth and deviates from sustainable development. Second, technological progress should be input efficient and not input consuming. Third, renewable resources should be extracted on a sustainable basis, that is, rate of extraction should not exceed rate of regeneration. Fourth, for non-renewable resources, rate of depletion should not exceed the rate of creation of renewable substitutes. And fifth, inefficiencies arising from pollution should be corrected. So the next is we are going to do strategies for sustainable development. So let's take up the strategies. One is the use of non-conventional sources of energy. India, as you know, is hugely dependent on thermal and hydropower plants to meet its power needs. Both of these have adverse environmental impacts. Thermal power plants emit large quantities of carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. It also produces fly ash, which, if not used properly, can cause pollution of water bodies, land, and other components of the environment. Hydroelectric projects inundate forests and interfere with the natural flow of water in catchment areas and the river basins. Wind power and solar rays are good examples of conventional but cleaner and greener energy sources, but are not yet being explored on a large scale due to lack of technological devices. So the next one is LPG gobar gas in rural areas. So households in rural areas generally use wood, dung cakes, or other biomass as fuel. So this practice has several adverse implications like deforestation, reduction in green cover, wastage of cattle dung, and air pollution. To rectify the situation, substantial LPG is being provided. In addition, gobar gas plants are being provided through easy loans and subsidy. As far as liquefied petroleum gas, liquefied LP petroleum, G is gas, LPG is concerned, it is a clean fuel. It reduces household pollution to a large extent. Also, energy wastage is minimized. For the gobar gas plant to function, cattle dung is fed to the plant and gas is produced, which is used as fuel, while the slurry which is left over is a very good organic fertilizer and soil conditioner. So compressed natural gas, that is CNG, in urban areas. In Delhi, the use of compressed natural gas, that is CNG, as fuel in public transport system has significantly lowered air pollution, and the air has become cleaner in the last few years. Another strategy for sustainable development besides CNG is wind power. In areas where speed of wind is usually high, windmills can provide electricity without any adverse impact on the environment. Wind turbines move with the wind and electricity is generated. No doubt the initial cost is high, but the benefits are such that the high cost gets easily absorbed. Another strategy for development, sustainable development, is solar power through photovoltaic cells. India is naturally endowed with a large quantity of solar energy in the form of sunlight. We use it in different ways. For example, we dry our clothes, grains, other agricultural products, as well as various items made for daily use. We also use sunlight to warm ourselves in winter. Plants use solar energy to perform photosynthesis. Now, with the help of photovoltaic cells, solar energy can be converted into electricity. These cells use special kind of materials to capture solar energy and then convert the energy into electricity. This technology is extremely useful for remote areas and for places where supply of power through grid or power lines is either not possible or proves very costly. This technique is also totally free from pollution. Another strategy for sustainable development is mini hydel plants. In mountainous regions, streams can be found almost everywhere. A large percentage of such streams are perennial, that means going forever. Mini hydel plants use the energy of such streams to move small turbines. The turbines generate electricity which can be used locally. Such power plants are more or less environment friendly as they do not change the land use pattern in areas where they are located. They generate enough power to meet local demands. This means that they can also do away with the need for large-scale transmission towers and cables and avoid transmission losses. Another strategy for sustainable development is traditional knowledge and practices. Traditionally, Indian people have been close to the environment. They have been more a component of the environment and not its controller. If we look back at our agriculture system, healthcare system, housing, transport, etc., we find that all practices have been environment friendly. Only recently have we drifted away from the traditional systems and caused large-scale damage to the environment and also our rural heritage. Now it is time to go back. One apt example is in healthcare. India is very much privileged to have about 15,000 species of plants which have medicinal properties. About 8,000 of these are in regular use in various systems of treatment, including the folk tradition. With the sudden onslaught of the Western system of treatment, we were ignoring our traditional systems such as Ayurveda, Unani, Tibetan, and folk system. These healthcare systems are in great demand again for treating chronic health problems. Nowadays, every cosmetic produce, hair oil, toothpaste, body lotion, face cream, and whatnot is herbal in composition. Not only are these products environment friendly, they are relatively free from side effects and do not involve large-scale industrial and chemical processing. So the other one is sustainable growth strategy is biocomposting. In our quest to increase agricultural production during the last 5 decades or so, we almost totally neglected the use of compost and completely switched over to chemical fertilizers. The result is that large tracts of productive land have been adversely affected. Water bodies, including groundwater system, have suffered due to chemical contamination, and demand for irrigation has been going up year after year. Farmers in large numbers all over the country have again started using compost made from organic waste of different types. In certain parts of the country, cattle are maintained only because they produce dung, which is an important fertilizer and soil conditioner. Earthworms can convert organic matter into compost faster than the normal composting process. This process is now being widely used. Indirectly, the civic authorities are benefited too, as they have to dispose reduced quantity of waste. Then we have what is known as biopest control, another strategy for sustainable development. So with the advent of green revolution, the entire country entered into a frenzy of use more and more chemical pesticides for higher yield. Soon, the adverse impacts began to show. Food products were contaminated, soil water bodies and even groundwater were polluted with pesticides. Even milk, meat and fishes were found to be contaminated. To meet this challenge, efforts are on to bring on in better methods of pest control. One such step is the use of pesticides based on plant products. Neem trees are proving to be quite useful. Several types of pest controlling chemicals have been isolated from neem, and these are being used. Mixed cropping and growing different crops in consecutive years on the same land have also helped farmers. In addition, awareness is spreading about various animals and birds which help in controlling pests. For example, snakes are one of the prime group of animals which prey upon rats, mice, and various other pests. Similarly, large varieties of birds, for example, owls and peacocks, prey upon vermin and pests. If these are allowed to dwell around the agricultural areas, they can clear large varieties of pests, including insects. Lizards are also important in this regard. We need to know their value and save them. Sustainable development has become a catchphrase today. It is indeed a paradigm shift in the development thinking. Though it has been interpreted in a number of ways, adherence to this path ensures lasting development and non-declining welfare for all. So in conclusion, economic development, which aimed at increasing the production of goods and services to meet the needs of rising population, puts greater pressure on the environment. In the initial stages of development, the demand for environmental resources was less than that of supply. Now, the world is faced with increased demand for environmental resources, but their supply is limited due to overuse and misuse. Sustainable development aims at promoting the kind of development that minimizes environmental problems and meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. So with that, we finish off environmental and sustainable development, and after studying this or hearing this chapter, you will understand the concept of environment. You'll analyze the causes and effect of environmental degradation and resource depletion, and you'll understand the nature of environmental challenges facing India. And right now, we've done about sustainable development, so you can relate environmental issues to the larger context of sustainable development. It is the need of the hour.